Welcome to another Happy English podcast coming to you from New York City. And here's your English teacher, Michael.
All right. Thank you, John, and thanks, everyone. This is Happy English Podcast, episode 494. 5 ways to use could. Hey, guys, it's Michael here from Happy English, coming to you on a snowy day in New York City. Actually, I can't say how hard it's snowing right now because I don't have a window in my office. If I had a window, I could tell you. And that brings us to the point of today's English lesson. We're going to talk about could. I'm sure you know that could is the past of can. Well, there are a number of different uses and meanings for could, and that's what we're going to study today. Before we get started, I just wanted to mention that if you have a request for an English lesson here on the podcast or on my YouTube channel, feel free to send me a voice message at myhappyenglish.com. Okay, let's check it out. First of all, we use could to make a polite request. Using could to make a polite request is more indirect, and so it is softer than using can. Here are some examples. Hey, Jack, could you help me with something? It's a little chilly in this room. Could you turn up the heat? Could you let me know when you're available for a class? We can also use could to make a suggestion. Here, too, using could is more indirect and softer than using can. For example, what do you want to do tonight? We could see a movie. I heard it's going to be a nice weekend. What do you want to do? We could go to the beach. Where do you want to have dinner tonight? We could go to that new pizza shop in Brooklyn, or we could go to Chinatown. In a similar way, we use could with if in the second conditional. Remember, the second conditional is where we talk about hypothetical and imaginary situations. Here are some examples. If I were taller, I could be a better basketball player. You could be a better English speaker if you studied a little harder. If it weren't so cold, we could play tennis today. We also use could to talk about past ability. But keep in mind, when we use could to talk about past ability, we use it to talk about habits or usual situations in the past and not one-time events. I can say, my grandfather could play the piano. That was his habit. He usually played the piano, so I could say he could play the piano. But as I mentioned, we don't use could to talk about one-time events in the past. So, a sentence like this, I could have a nice time at the party yesterday, isn't natural. If you want to talk about past ability in a one-time event, you can use be able to. I was able to have a nice time at the party yesterday. Here are some other examples. I remember when we could buy gasoline for less than $2 a gallon. When I was younger, I could eat 4 slices of pizza. When my sister was in high school, she could play tennis really well. By the way, if you'd like to learn more about using can, could, and be able to, check out episode 433 of this podcast. And finally, we use could followed by have and the PP verb to talk about opportunities that we had in the past, but they did not happen. We use this grammar to talk about missed opportunities. For example, I didn't know the restaurant was offering free dessert. I could have eaten chocolate cake. I could have talked to the CEO, but I got to the office after the meeting. Jack could have been an engineer, but he decided to go to music college instead. Well, that's our English lesson for today. I don't think I could have given you any more information about could. All right, if you want to read the examples in this lesson or get word-for-word transcripts of the Happy English podcast, just visit myhappyenglish.com and check lesson 494. Thanks for studying, and I'll see you next time at Happy English.
This podcast was brought to you by Happy English. Please visit myhappyenglish.com. Show your support for Happy English by leaving us a review. Get English, get happy, Happy English.